My content is for 13 and up or adult collectors of the product.
What if I just told you that this disc is causing a lot of problems in burst right now? Hello everyone, and before we continue with the video, subscribe to the channel with bell notifications on, and we're gonna get started. Alright, now Vanguard, the disc that released with Venom / Erase Diabolos back in GT, there's kind of like a cool thing that you can do with it. And first of all, shoutouts to Dan from the WBO for kind of, I don't know, I would say, you know, making this thing a lot more well-known. I had no idea this was a thing, so it's kind of interesting. And basically what it is, and I'll show, and I'm basically gonna have to explain multiple times in the thing, you're basically just modifying it and basically bending it, right? And it gives it like more resistance, right? And the debate is, or I'm gonna be basically explaining the two sides. The one side that we're gonna call this bent guard. That's gonna be our name for this thing. The one side is that, well, I don't really approve of the bent Vanguard because you are intentionally breaking the disc, and it's not really something that can happen via battle like your typical awakening, right? Now, the other side of this would be that the WBBA considers this legal, or there isn't really a statement that is against the bent Vanguard. So another thing to also consider for this sort of debate is whether or not it was intentional within the design for it to happen. So, for an example, things that are like for wear or awakening, quote-unquote, for like stuff like that, it would be stuff like 2D, evolution dash, variable dash, and savior. Those are all intentional in the design. When they were making it, they put in the instructions that yes, this can awaken if you wear it down or whatever, right? So when you look at bent Vanguard, it's definitely not intentional in the design. Like, it's not like they made Vanguard and are like, well, you can do this. So that is also something very important to consider, but they also didn't say anything. That's why it's a very hard area, because for an example, something else I probably also wouldn't consider if I was against Vanguard too, would be the idea of like awakening 2B. So while it is possible for it to definitely happen in battle, I'm not going to deny that at all. I definitely do think that it is also possible that you can just break 2B with your hand. And basically what Awaken 2B is a lot more free spin. But you can also argue that it's not really intentional within the design for 2B to wear like that and to get to that point. But also they didn't make a statement on it, so that's where it gets this really weird area, because there are some things that are quote-unquote awakenings that they consider legal, but you can at least argue that those happen via battle. In the case of bent Vanguard, it's impossible to happen via battle, like, unless somehow Longinus like upper attack the disc or something and push the tabs or something. Yeah, it probably you could maybe consider no. That's why it's like a really weird area, because it's not something that's natural, but it's also something they didn't really say anything against. So it's like it's this area that's like very like confusing. I also think probably the reason why you could also say, well, the reason why they don't say anything is probably there are so many parts that they have released that they would have to go through a statement on every single part that this is not legal wear or something. You know, maybe that's a fair argument to make, but yeah, it's just both sides to consider if you are for or against. I think also mentioning intentional is important, because I don't want to seem like I'm biased to this thing just because it's a funny combo in the video and whatever. I want to make sure I give both perspectives, so that way, you know, no one thinks, oh, you're this way or that way. But yeah, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will try to remain neutral in this thing, so in the comments, if you are for the idea of this or against it, you let me know. If you like it, then it's cool. If you don't like it, then it's a cool mod. So either way, you get something out of this video. So just to take a look, as we can see, we have basically just Vanguard, right? Looks like an ordinary Vanguard. Now, here's what we got to do. We just got to apply a little force, and voila. All right, now let's actually try to take a look at this thing, and wow, there is a difference. Okay, no, but in seriousness, from the sketch and whatever, To basically show with the original Vanguard, I want you to pay close attention to the plastic on the inside and the tabs, right? So if you notice, it looks normal. So what you basically have to do is you would have to push it, right? Apply the force. And then after, you would have it to where it is bent like this. And what this basically does is it increases your burst resistance and makes it a lot harder to burst, right? So for this one in specific, which I want to give a shout out to Think from the WBO for the L-Drago one, L-Drago gang, obviously. But just to show the difference between the two, here's me clicking back and forth. So that is with the unmodified Vanguard. And then after with. Right, you see the difference. There is an increase in the burst resistance, so it is something that's really cool. And what we're going to do now is I'm basically going to go over a session where I try it out. And there's two things I'm going to be focusing on. The first one is the idea that you basically have to have a very strong launch for this to work against DB stuff. And the other part is the fact that the Vanguard gives the burst resistance. So it's kind of like two things that kind of go in hand with each other. Alrighty, now just to get started, the first thing I want to clarify is that this is very dependent on the fact that, now, obviously for like something against like GT layers or whatever, yeah, perfectly fine. Specifically against DB, to make this work as effective as you want it to be, you have to basically go with a lot of strength and power. So we're going to throw this up against DB. I have Dynamite Belial 2 over Bearing Dash 3. We're going to go up against it. I'll then have to try against High Extend plus Dash. I'll try to throw in just other things for an example that could potentially work. And yeah, let's get started. So just to give an example at the start, you can notice that it will lose by outspin, but it does hit very good, I would say. Like, it hits strong against it. So I'm sure once we get to like High Extend plus Dash, it'll be very easy. Bearing Dash is really the first hurdle, because after that it's pretty easy. And it's just to really show, right? I want to really make this clear that it's not something that's invincible, right? Okay. In one of my attempts, I was able to do it. You probably also heard some of the clicks. Yes, did help. Okay, well, sake of the round, I just want to show the burst resistance on this thing. So I want you to notice that it took like 2 really big hits, right? Those were big hits, right? Those were not like baby hits. After all that, okay. Obviously, you know, stadium angle matters, right? Okay, I was able to get it that time, all right. How many more times can I get it? That was a stupid save. Yeah, I just killed my stamina. All right, but I know it's possible now. That was a big hit too, look at that. Yeah, I think anytime when we know it's like a stamina finish, I'm not gonna bother to do it. So we're gonna give that to Dynamite Belial. Look, man, it can hit. And look at that, sweet KO at the end. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind. That was a good hit too. it does good hits. Like, it's actually insane. That was another stamina win. And you can hear that I did lose actually clicks, right? I want to make sure that I don't try to oversell it. Okay. Now, just to really show you, it's a little bit easier to KO this, which is high extend plus dash. So, just to show for an example. What the hell? How did that work? Wait, I was supposed to lose. All right, whatever. If it works, it works. I want to make it absolutely clear. The high extend plus dash is, you should have an easy time to KO it, to be quite honest. Okay, now I want to just, now Judgment doesn't really work as consistently, but I do want to just show it for the example. So if I have Judgment Diabolos on Extreme Dash, doesn't work as well as L-Drago, but it's just to really demonstrate the same principle. That it can KO it. Now the thing is with Judgment is that Judgment's a lot worse than L-Drago in this case because it's a lot easier to lose. But Judgment, it is possible, you could definitely win with Judgment. So really the idea is that all it really needs is just the big hit. Yeah, it just needs that hit. So consistency is what matters. So just because I can win with this doesn't mean if this was like a tournament setting that it would just magically work. Now to quickly also show, I have Nightmare on Angle Extreme Dash, and this is to go up against the exact same combination we've been going up against. And it's just to really drive home the points. Now, I will admit to you that Nightmare is a lot harder to actually pull this off. But it's the same idea at the end of the day. It's the same idea. Is that going to happen in every single round? No, it's probably not going to happen every single round. In fact, probably for most of the rounds that you do, it probably won't happen. But it's possible. So, like I was trying to say before, the idea with this is not just that it wins. I mean, okay, it is pretty cool that L-Drago can win like that. But it is also just the idea that if you get something fast and whatever, you can likely win. It obviously depends what's the layer and everything in that context. L-Drago is just cool, and it's probably the most consistent, I would say, for getting that performance done. Now where we're going to get really interesting is once we hit Vanish Longinus, because that's a lot harder to beat. And it's basically going up against a left spin defense tank. Like, obviously, if I get to high extend plus dash, it'll win, but just like that. Okay. So you can kind of get it to work. I also have to tell you that my extreme dash is going to hell right now. That's pretty much what's happening. My extreme dash is like wearing like a lot. So for sake of the thing, right? In any normal match, you could likely lose like that. Oh, of course that time forget it. See, that time I can do it, but all the other times I can't do it. But the Vanguard I definitely do think is helping quite a bit. Okay, yeah, and you wanna know what? Let's stop the slaughter of the extreme dash, alright? Let's just get this on high extend plus dash, so I do my quick KO, and then after I wrap up. Alright. Okay, so in this case, it's not going to beat Vanish, right? So like I'm going to keep on stressing, you need high speed if you want this to work. And for this, for an example, is probably not going to, well, I said that it does it every single time I say it. It does it, okay, you don't know what, forget it. So let's give our final thoughts on this. So first of all, I want to say once again a huge shout out to Dan from the WBO for the combination. Oh, no, well, yes, for the bent Vanguard and the idea of the combinations, and also shout out to Think from the WBO for the L-Drago in specific, because that's what it reminded me of. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of the results? I thought it was very funny that I didn't manage to make it work. Though I think Vanish is very tough to make things like the Judgment and the Nightmare thing work, because basically it's a lot more tanky and it's a lot harder to pull off. But I want to end off just mentioning that we have a store where we have pre-orders for Gatling Dragon and Chain Kerbeus. Please check it out. It is an optional way to support the channel. Make sure to check what currency you have on the store if you are trying to purchase something on our store. And I do appreciate all the support regardless. And I want to say thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe and comment, and have an amazing day. Bye.